This is for the book lovers. I'm Nabwiri.
I'm Marcella, and welcome back to Bookish Banter.
So we'll be continuing in the series of Joan Thatiah's Confession of Nairobi Women. This is book 2. Welcome. So I hope you were able to watch part 1 and everything that you have to say shared with us in the comments, disagreed, agreed, and we just basically bantered. So yeah, for today, you guy, my guy, let's start with the beard gang. So before Ujishuku, beard gang here. I mean, most times when a guy who's gay chooses to marry a woman, they're marrying this woman as a beard to cover hiyo ndio watu wasijue what they're doing in the bedroom. Yeah, so we have such a story in this scenario where a man got married to a woman. She's heavily expectant. She's about to give birth. And then, just as she's going into her bedroom to take a nap,
My lord.
she stumbles into two men. Who? This man and who? His best man.
Lord.
So, yeah, of course, she fainted because she never expected it. She never did. So, yeah, I think a big takeaway for me from this particular story is when the babe was saying for her the most difficult part
Yeah.
was trusting herself again because she never saw this coming. Like nothing
Sure.
about his behavior showed.
Showed anything.
Yeah, she didn't see signs or symptoms
Yeah.
to say, okay, maybe the way he used to do nothing. So now she's very keen. Like, and she literally doesn't trust herself, her intuition, because she missed it.
How did she miss it?
Yeah.
Like she was totally blindsided.
Yeah, and then she considered this like her life partner and also a friend.
Yeah.
And then during the context of when everything was going on, her first thing was like this is her big betrayal. So she asked this guy for a divorce, and the fact that she was getting it from the mom and the family, like, oh, ndoa ni kuvumilia, you don't know what people are going through.
Yeah.
And in her head, she's thinking, oh, so you people knew
They probably
what this your
knew.
son
Yeah.
is, and you didn't give me the option. I was just supposed to stay with him and cover this thing that for him, because for him he clearly considers being gay a shame. So you want me to cover him without even being aware of what I'm covering him in. So she felt deeply betrayed. And the fact that during the divorce proceedings, the man had the audacity to say
call
you're
her-
homophobic.
Yeah. I mean, he even called her close-minded.
Imagine. eh?
Like, are you mad?
And for her, she just felt like you stole the choice
so many
of
years.
you stole years from my life, and also you didn't give me the choice because nobody knows. Maybe had you said, listen, I'm gay,
She says actually she had no problem with
but just
sexuality.
tell me,
Just say.
tell me, maybe I'd have been gay. You know what the men in these streets have shown me that yeah, we can be in this, sham of a marriage. I'm
Whichever,
okay with it.
yeah.
But no, at least I wouldn't be shocked. I'd be like, oh, you guys, ningewafungia mlango niseme, you know what? Enjoy.
That's what they do.
Have fun
And
times.
that's fine.
Nitakuwa kwa sitting room.
Yeah.
Si tutapika ile chipo yetu alafu tulale.
You
Yeah,
act like it never happened.
So what were beard gang? Hello.
I know.
Yeah.
And then the funny thing also is the dude, after they divorced, he still got married to another woman.
Yeah, as a beard. And now the fact that again so many people know the truth except the person who's helping this person hide. Like just accept yourself. So yeah, that was one big one, like amongst the things. And then another one which one hit hard for you that you're just like
Really, for now, actually, based on our previous episode, I feel like majority of the themes were repeated.
They were.
And I can just first I will just give like a general kind of feel. For this particular book, I feel like it had more depth than the first one. But I don't have a specific one that, like wowed or shocked me per se. What actually stood out for me in this book was the intensity with which the stories were being explained. Okay. And even the themes now, they were coming out so profoundly. I found it hard to finish the book actually, but I finished it. It was so profound in all sorts of concepts, in terms of GBV, in terms of rape, in terms of, it was just like I cannot specifically say this story was so profound for me than this other one. It was just a lot for me. Yeah. But we can, let's see that we have several themes there that we can pick from.
I think another one that really stood out for me is the one where she talks about rape and not being in a space to not reporting it, and how it just changed like the direction or how she'd envisioned her life before, and how it happened for her was something that we do every single day in our lives living in Nairobi, where it's like, you wake up, you board a matatu, you're going to work. And then she was carjacked, and then they are stopped in the middle of nowhere. They're told to strip, and then just some malicious guy who has his own issues pointing her out and choosing to rape her on a morning where she's going, and then just that being so disoriented, because there's the where you can think logically and say, okay, if this happened, this is what I do, this is what I do. I'd go to hospital and I'd go and report. It's not that she doesn't know all these things, it's just that in this point it's like everything is scattered. Like you can even forget your name, the direction to your home. Just
that was hard even to read, actually.
It was so hard. It's
because
so
she even had like to borrow like lessons from this work. You can imagine the embarrassment that you just walk around before you get to your house, even
leave alone the embarrassment. It's early in the morning. You are actually going to work. It's just like you had like a whole your
the whole day just gets ruined. You can't just go to work like that. I feel like this is very difficult for most women. Even the guy who was perpetrating this most probably was also traumatized, because the main theme in this book is trauma. Because like you can't just rape someone just out of the blue. I find Nabira very cute. Let me just rape her out of the 20 women in this bus. No, what was it? What stood out about this babe?
But that's a personal. I don't.
Oh, you think? No, it's okay.
For him, I don't think, as much as it's about trauma, or like, okay, he reminds you of your mother or
some sick thing.
It's still it still can't be looked at the same, because at this particular point he's not the victim, because he probably finished what he's doing and moved on to like the next mat, or went home to his family.
It didn't bother him at all.
But for her, it came to the point where it's like self-hate. She was questioning her body and like why she was identified amongst the group. Like it's my hips. So she's trying to like change.
I remember her saying
change how she looks, change her outlook, so that she can be like the most undesirable person. She had like a whole relationship where this guy basically didn't see her the same. Granted, he was supportive that night. He listened to her when she cried and everything. And for whatever reason on his end, he could no longer be with her. Maybe he had that whole thing of she's been with somebody else, she's been violated. But still at the same time, for her, like how she looked at herself, how she viewed herself. Like she hated herself. She intentionally added weight to just switch up. She's very guarded. She even said she listens to, like, she's looking out at something similar about that guy, because such a face stays with you.
Yeah. Or she looks like in the streets. You can see faces,
glances, where some things like voice, where just something would just trigger you.
Yeah.
And she struggled so much just getting back to, okay, even as we're speaking right now, where she's in a new relationship, where she hasn't been able to confide in this her new guy, because you also don't know how will you begin
it.
Yeah. Also, will he look at me the same, or will he start judging me? And you don't know. And then it's something that once it's out there, now it's up to this other person to decide. How they'll take it.
Based on their experiences, they'll decide, this is not something I wanna, play around with. So bye, adios.
Yeah, or imagine confiding such a thing in somebody, and then like if you're having like a heated argument, they throw it back in your face.
Oh my god, and people do that quite often.
And that's something that it was so hard to get out of me. That I've told you for you to
Dish it back.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, that's even why.
Come on.
Yeah, so very, very heavy book. And then something else that she said about the why report it and it's already happened. It's not like I'll be unraped.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in my head I was like, okay, that's something that it's not really something that you can advise somebody, especially if you haven't been there, because it's one of those logically this is what you
should report.
Yeah, but once you're there, even just because you can imagine you're now speaking it out loud, just what you've been
like what
already
happened.
Yeah, that's a process. What if the police
it's gonna bring back the trauma is gonna come back because first you're not gonna find this guy.
What if the police like are mocking you like lakini
ulikuwa umevaje? Unaona kwanza that question is ulikuwa umevaje?
Na mbona wewe pekee?
Mbona see the rest? I mean, this is a whole bus. Yo, that's crazy.
Yeah, so yeah, we wish, healing.
Inner healing for all of us.
Yes,
because we've all gone through something.
Yes. Yes.
So what else?
Another thing that has been mentioned is this in this book. We can speak about FGM. Yeah. And like I'll say the shame that came with the teller of this story. Yeah. So basically, like for her growing up, like she grew in like an FGM performing community. Yeah. Because she was like, this is something that generations behind me have gone through. This is something that I knew,
want my kids to go through as well.
And also she knew was coming for her. So psychologically prepared somehow. She didn't expect it to be as painful, but it's something she knew is in her path of life.
Yeah.
So for her, it wasn't shocking. Yeah. Until like you get to
meet someone who now is not exposed to FGM practices. And probably this guy, Nash, is shocked at what is it that he saw. Like the first time he gets intimate with this babe, he's like, what in God's name
is happening here?
Yeah.
And it's the fact that he was a loving, kind man.
He was a good man.
Chased her and got her and treated her right. So much so.
And he didn't even touch her until.
No, it's not that. It's because they lacked opportunity.
There was no opportunity.
He was a good man.
There was no opportunity. Yeah, see, she was a help.
Yeah, she was a help, and he was working. So he had.
They never had like
roommates.
time.
Yeah, and then so they never had time to just get it on.
It was okay.
Yeah, he was a good boyfriend. So much so that like he pursued her and told her, come and live with me. And she was like, okay. Game. And
dropped everything.
Quit her job. And said, yeah, me and my man. My man.
I'm in then shock. Because the shame that comes with FGM is something that is not talked about. We don't even know. Most of us who are in Nairobi don't know what FGM is about. So, of course, I can't imagine what type of shock that this boy went through. But they got a baby anyway, And I think he didn't know what to do with this, but to take the babe to his mom's home, Ucha.
I think,
I mean, I don't know what did he think? Because he started avoiding her after that.
Of course, he was shocked. I think maybe he's like an avoidant, and he handled it very terribly because it's where you can see shock on somebody's face, but they never sit you down to have a conversation. And from having being with this person for a while, where you drop everything and live with them, to them suddenly switching up on you while pregnant. That's so much for somebody to take. Okay, you've moved me to stay Huku Ocha, and you, okay, fine, you're hustling in Nairobi, but still, can you just be present for me? But he wasn't. It's like he treated her like a baby making machine, and he's just like, okay, I will be there for this kid, very 10%, and he just made her like some structure of a home. And just, it's like he abandoned her there. Like, you do you. I'm going to be, and put as much space between them. And just that, you can imagine that shift where this was a man that I loved. I was ready to build a life with.
Anymore. That's confusing, actually. Even most relationships go through that. Yes, the dynamics are different, but that shift always sometimes happens in a relationship. But this one, I feel like that was a lot because he just switched up on her and decided, this is not something I can do. Maybe what did he see? Like he probably didn't like her anymore. In terms of her physical appearance, not physical, physical appearance,
Because if that was the case, then why did he keep coming back
and
and
giving
putting another
babies.
baby and another
I might just
baby
due
and
to
another?
obligation, maybe, you never know.
But he wasn't really obligated to her, because how are you obligated to me?
Because
he could,
she's living in their home compound, ideally.
which he chose to take her there.
Yeah.
If you think about it,
It
if anything, he should have stopped up. Okay, the first one has happened. Okay, I will be responsible here. But since clearly he feels like put off by her, then put as much space between you. But it's like he was just trying to show her without telling her directly that, listen, I don't want you anymore. Because he went to extremes. Okay, maybe for him, he fell for somebody else and he was like, yeah. But now he literally, this is the compound. She lives here. He goes, builds
another mansion,
an insane house for this new babe. He's super present with the new babe. He has kids with
They
the
have
new
moments
babe.
and experiences, and in her face.
Yeah, like the joke is so funny, you guys. What's so funny? Is it really that funny? And then you can just see, because okay, fine, you don't want her, you feel some type of way, but the kids, because if you can treat this kids
like this,
then why my own? Why am mine different?
That was sad. That was really sad.
Yeah, it was so sad, and it, like the fact that he was just trying to push her to a corner, like, hey, who gets it's like akufukuzae.
It's a time, babe.
Yeah, please,
leave.
can you just leave? But I love that eventually she did. Like, she just picked up her things and was like,
Come we try. Come we try a relationship. I mean, why not? Put yourself first. Just get out.
Yeah, and go to where you're appreciated.
More appreciated by someone
than somebody who's constantly just pushing you down. Yeah, I'm happy for her and her man, because she said she likes having a man in her life, and that she does.
I think also it comes from your relationship at FGM, because it's in their community. That kind of a family kind of dynamic is embraced. So for her, having this man who's accepting her, because that's what she always wanted, like someone who's accepting her and seeing. All women want to be seen. Hata kama you've gone through whatever, you want to be seen, you want to be appreciated, acknowledged. For her, this is good for her, in short.
Yeah. Amazing for her. I love that.
Then there's this one for mothering. This one who hates to be a mom.
Oh.
Yeah. You remember the story?
Like her mother hated being a mom.
Yes.
Oh.
Is
like
it
the one
mom?
who wanted to be child-free.
Child-free. Are they two different stories?
No, like her mother hated being a mom.
A mom, yes. Okay.
Her, she wanted to be child-free. Yeah. So, like the mother, because of what she'd essentially gone through, like with sort of like a very difficult relationship with her mom, like she'd made the decision from when she was young. Like, I don't want kids myself. I want to be child-free, because the mother...
I mean, how can you go through all of this? How can you put a child through all of this kind of lifestyle or hate, or, you see? That's what she was thinking. I feel like she said something that somewhere.
Because like the mom consistently kept reminding her and the sister, I didn't want you guys. The reason my life is like this is because of you guys. Everything, you guys. The mom would blame them. So they used to have like few rare moments of when they just have a blissful happiness with their mom. But normally it just be like blame game and just being reminded.
She used to be angry.
I didn't want you.
Did she get angry most of it? I think she got angry sometimes.
She got angry most of the time. Yeah. So they literally had to walk on eggshells and manage the mom's emotions. And because of that, she's like, she doesn't want to be in a space where she belittles another person constantly. So her choice to be child-free was made from a very young age.
The trauma she got.
Yeah, and she stood by it, and she said it repeatedly and very confidently. Like, this is a decision that I've made because of what I've been through. It has nothing to do with anybody or a man. Hers weren't health or fertility issues. It's just a choice that she felt that, because one thing she did question a lot was, if I become a man, will I be a good mom?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
not something that she was willing to sort of find out. So she went with her. I want to be child free, which is okay.
Which is fine. I mean, even in this day and age, child child free is being embraced. It's not, like you can't sit down and say, oh no, like you guys, that's not the role of the woman in the society, or like role of the woman in the society now in 2025, surely. Like if I don't want to have kids, I don't want to have kids.
Yeah.
If it's a relationship I want to have without kids, then it should be a mutual agreement, right?
Yeah, and it should
And
be
I
respected.
applaud that theme was brought into this, because it needs to be told outside to be accepted, to be normalized. Because you don't have to have a baby.
Yeah,
right?
which is true, I agree.
Yeah,
However,
if you're not even
yeah.
in the capacity emotionally or mentally to provide for someone else, because these are independent human beings, they will catch on. They will get, yes, my mom is not around mentally, emotionally, she doesn't get it. Yeah.
Yeah, or she doesn't love me.
Yeah.
Or she's never there.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
so
it comes even with, I remember you quoting in that other episode about Stay With Me. And this one also can be quoted with It Ends With Us. Like, we are the ones who are now most conscious as women. We decide, are we going to repeat the things our parents were, right?
Yeah.
So it has to end with us. We're not going to be forced to get our kids to be living in the same traumatized situations and whatnot. So yeah, so I applaud that Joan brought that into this particular book.
I love that she brought it up. Although for her in this particular story, her stance wasn't respected by the man that she was saying.
Yeah.
As much as she said it repeatedly over and over again. And she made it known. Like it wasn't a suggestion. It wasn't, because somebody can say, there's people who say, listen, I don't know, I'm 50-50. If I might not. But for her, she made her stance very clear over and over repeatedly to this man. And she let him know, you want to be a father. I think that's great. I don't. And as a man, if a babe tells you that and you feel you don't agree, then I think that's a perfect place to end the relationship.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to taking a mission to change your mind. It's like now you're working hard, because she's like, now she's attending baby showers and all these kids events. And it's nice. The thing I feel people misunderstand when somebody says they want to be child free, it's like they hate children. I don't. I can look after my nieces. I can babysit for my friends. I will come to I will even plan the baby shower. I'll even plan the birthdays. I don't mind, doing all these things. I just don't want myself. So that's like a common misconception. And this guy, he was moving with the mindset of, if I just put her around kids every single time, she'll just change her mind. And then this guy was a cop. So the fact that he intentionally impregnated her, knowing her stance, and then when she was telling him, he's so nonchalant, like, yeah, baby, we're having a baby.
I put a baby in you.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's like she's suddenly supposed to be, oh my gosh,
thank you so
how did
much.
you
Changed my,
gosh,
really?
I'm so happy. It's just his delivery, how he said it.
Yeah.
So I really love how she ended it and what she said, because she said she gave birth to the baby. I think after a few months, she left the baby with the father, because she said he wanted to be a father, but I never wanted to be a mother. And she doesn't understand why people are like, oh, why would you do that?
Why would you leave your baby?
She's like, but I left the child with their father. This is their father. It's not a strange man. This is their father, and he wanted this, so he should be able to take care of his child. And that whole, oh, she's going to change her mind. She's like, no, I've been saying this. I've been saying it, and he knows. So if anything, between the two of us, he'll be like, okay, fine, you can have the child.
That was a good and very bold step she did there, because the type of backlash that this society would do to you, to make you feel guilty for making a decision that suits you.
Yeah, and she stood firm. She's like,
yeah, she did. She was like, me, I didn't want it.
And that's the father, guys. Stop it. That's the father. So I loved. One other one I wanted to talk about is black tax. So there's this one where this is chapter 11. The babe, they're fairly middle class and going on up. So the dad decides to get into politics. Politics. wewe ndio unaingia.
Mhesh.
Wewe mhesh, mkubwa. You know, and he had a good job. So he comes home one day, tells his family he's quitting his job. Amechochwa kule Ocha akaambiwa wewe ndio tunataka. Wewe sasa ndio leader. So akaingia box, kichochekas. So you know politics is essentially unachotea watu nini. So he does the thing, and then the election comes and he loses. So he loses money and everything, yeah. So he loses, and it's like apo katikati, him and the wife, things end and whatnot. So now the kid, I think this was the firstborn daughter. So now she works hard, like she goes through, like the dad, they of course went through like good schools and everything before like things just fell apart. So she finishes school, she gets a job, but now immediately she gets her first job. Remember, the parents are separated. The dad is like, hey, pay my rent. You remember those private schools I paid for you?
Pay back all that money.
Yeah, and then the mom, who also had told her, Sipia we wende utafute mbaba. And then now she's like, yeah, even me pay my rent.
Black tax upgraded.
So she had like the weight of the black tax, and then also that like guilt that is just like we already, it's like it was like her education was alone, like tulikusomesha, so now
like a good school.
You need to do things, and because of that's how she got into like being an escort, and because like her salary was sufficient, but it like she could pay the rent, but that's about it. Like she paid her rent, her mother's rent, her father's rent, and then like she's back on the ground too. She's like struggling, like the paycheck to paycheck. So because of that, that's how she became an escort. Like she got somebody who organizes. You go into a room. But like one of the worries was like, what if one day, you know, you open the door and it's like somebody
you know,
like an uncle or a
just do the job.
Yeah, but right now she's like she's living a double life. Where she has her day job and then she has her night job. But one thing that stuck with me was for her, she's doing it because of the burden of black tax. Because she's basically trying to maintain these two households. What
would happen if she would just decide?
Exactly.
You know, whatever.
I'm not gonna do this.
I'm done. I've paid all of my dues.
Some to do. I feel like, and I think one thing, especially in a Kenyan, African, just the standing up to your parents, just that saying no. Of two rented, you like see to me. It'll be such a long day.
You will be called to the family gathering. Squeezy,
children wamekuwa very ungrateful. Hakumbuki venye nilingangana. Anajua venye nilingangana na yeye. It becomes so tough. Like you'll be guilt tripped. You won't even believe it.
Yeah, but you can't say no.
Yeah, you can, but
walk away.
But it's
very difficult.
They say no and sticking to it, because you can say no,
and then they will convince you again.
They too.
They look for you.
It's just like, did you really say no? Like, mama yako ndio huyo mimi nalala kwa barabara. And then
okay, fine, take all my money.
If you think about it, if they are kicked out, they'll come to stay with you.
Obviously, so you have to keep her.
Yeah. So now she's just carrying the burden. She's living her double life, and she's literally living on the edge of it. Might kesho ndio anaweza jua, kesho ndio nitafungua hivi mlango.
Acha nikwambie, this life, something that I've learned is where you think you are the most important, imagine you're not. People will survive. The world will adjust.
Yeah.
If you stop right now, you decide I'm gonna go to Western and leave Nairobi and don't have any contact with anyone, imagine they will survive.
Yeah, they will. Yeah, absolutely, they will.
They will survive. So sometimes, just say whatever.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's easier said than done.
Done, for sure.
But it's
I agree. But
eventually when you do it, I think you need to have that stamina of like the child-free babe.
Yeah.
Like this is what I want, and I'm not going to. You're not gonna shake me. But yeah, this was, I think like the other one.
Yeah,
very well written. Again,
for
just like
sure.
being able
An
to
improvement.
put like people's stories
You know,
and like
that's a big
narrate.
feat.
Yeah.
That's a big feat.
And you can imagine the tellers of the story reading
Yeah.
like the story back. I wonder how
They're
that
so
feels.
wowed.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is awesome. This is good stuff.
Yeah, like my book, my story has been done justice.
Yeah.
And again, same thing with the other one. Hopefully, like if this is like similar to a path that you've charted, you can see, okay, fine, I'm not alone. Somebody else is going
Yeah.
through it, and just open up that space of okay,
There's chance
yeah,
to be better
to
or
grow, to talk about it, or even I'm not alone, or like space to learn and
and
grow.
even interest, have introspection on the trauma you've gone through and whatnot.
Yeah. And then also just the tackling of like really big topics that are sort of not really talked about, like children being abused by their fathers. You
Yeah.
realize, okay, it's not something that should in any way, shape, or form be normalized, but it's
Yeah.
something that it can open up the conversation of let's talk about this.
Yeah.
This is what I went through.
Mhm.
Not seeing yourself like you sort of
You're carrying a burden.
yeah, or you seduced your dad, not
Oh,
self-blaming where you
yeah,
think like it's
yeah.
something about you
Mhm.
and it's obviously something wrong with the adult in the situation. Things like mental health. There's a babe here who said for her she's a sex worker due to life circumstances, but she's like, that's not even my issue. My issue is just I happened to see my mother's mental health deteriorate.
Yeah.
So that's something that I'm constantly aware of. I'm just checking, okay, how did I react to this? I'm catching myself and everything. Like she's so self-aware about her mental health because like she had like a front row seat.
I feel
seeing
like
it.
also like both books bringing your concept here conversation, even in terms of inside marriages, because conversation is key, communication is key to what? To a better marriage. Tell me what you think. Tell me your kinks. Tell me this is who I am. Let's see how we can move around it.
Yeah.
So I hope these books actually people should read it. The more you read about real life stories of people, the more you realize, oh, we are all living life.
Yeah.
This is life. My problem might be smaller than this, or it could be bigger than this. But if this one went through this and it's real time and survived, and they're here giving their story, why not me?
Yeah.
Yes.
And also just removing yourself from or learning that whole thing of releasing yourself from, I don't want to be like my parents or such things.
It starts with me.
Yeah. But also just being able to acknowledge that your parents and every other person is human.
Exactly.
So
baseline, we are all human beings.
Just the way you said it, because as a child you're looking at your parents' marriage, like, why are you with this person? Yeah. And sometimes you can be so angry at maybe a parent, but you might not relate in the same context until you're in another marriage. Then there's things that you tolerate in a relationship. Yeah. So it sort of gives you the foundation of what you won't tolerate. Because so many people who are in like abusive relationship or no abusive like family setup where your father was, you catch such things so quickly that if this man slaps you once, you're out. You're not going to tolerate. You know all these triggers. There's a big who said, you're not going to make me that you're not going to turn me into somebody I'm not by belittling me. So so many lessons from this book, so many things to reflect about, so well written. And it's so good that people have, again, that Joan created this platform for people to just like release.
Let's understand Nairobi streets. Let's understand what's going on in Nairobi. And this is a good platform. So me, I would rate still like the previous episode 4. Though this is a great improvement from the previous book, maybe 4.5. Yeah. You?
I would also give it a 4.5. I do like how some stories, or rather the explanation, I feel like it was basically like, as a writer, like growth, like you can feel like a trajectory
exactly.
Was the stories I explained better. But my rating is still a 4.5. But definitely a 100% recommend this book.
Let's all talk about this on the platforms. Let's meet outside and talk about it
Yeah, and maybe she's working on a part three. Who
I hope
knows? Yeah.
so.
Yeah, hopefully it's like like creating more and more platform for women
People to
to keep
talk.
talking.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, and see you in the next.
The next one. Bye bye.
Bye.